have a lot that they need to figure out, right? Obviously, who are they going to keep this offseason? What moves and acquisitions are they going to make, whether it's via trade, whether it's via free agency, what's going to happen with D'Angelo Russell. Obviously, the goal is to retain Austin Reaves as well as Rui Hachimura, so those guys are definitely going to get paydays. But one of the key figures or components on the Lakers very likely could be Max Christie next year. I had a pretty good gauge on Max Christie this year, and I pretty much was like, hey, this is a guy that has the potential to be a legit 3-and-D guy. His defense is already like NBA level defense, and he came to the Lakers and he showed that. He showed real promise. Now, he was a 19-year-old kid, just turned 20, so he definitely has some growth and development to work, but I even said that his defense alone might have gotten him playtime throughout the course of the year, and we saw that in the beginning half of the season. Once we got the trade and everything, Max Christie basically became obsolete in many ways because the Lakers just had all of the main key components. They were having their backs against the wall, trying to do everything they could to get just to the playoffs, or the play-in, let alone the playoffs, and they were able to do that. But Max Christie next year could be our Austin Reaves, right? Austin Reaves in the first year actually got a lot of playing time, but it primarily was because the team was so terrible, right? But he showed that promise. He showed like, oh, this could be a real guy, and he broke the rotation, and then he got his opportunity this year with the Lakers, and again, continued to stay ready. He wasn't like the guy he was in the back half of the season. He wasn't that in the first half of the season, but kept working, kept improving, and then eventually you saw that transition, you saw that shift, and now this dude's about to get paid, and he was phenomenal. We very well could see Max Christie, and here's the beauty, right? So Max Christie, when we drafted him, was 6'5", and now, based on reports, he is as tall as 6'7". So he's gained about 2 inches, which is huge because, one, if he's grown 2 inches, that means he very well might continue to grow. If he grows to like 6'9" or even 6'8", watch out, because now you might have a legit like two-way forward that could play both spots, guard multiple positions. He, in my opinion, he can already guard multiple positions, but he may be able to guard the bigger, longer positions as well. So Max Christie could become a real valuable piece. But even at 6'7", that's the size and height of most of the small forwards in this league. You know, 6'7" to 6'8", Max Christie's got good size, got great instincts, he's great at closing out, he's a very good defensive player. I mean, he definitely needs to continue to work, and you saw some of the shifts and some of the changes of Max Christie from like when we drafted him throughout the course, and I'm really excited to see what he does in Summer League. I wouldn't be shocked if he's just dominating and completely taking over in Summer League because, again, he's got a year under his belt. He played in 41 games this season. He only started 3 of them. He played about 12.5 minutes per game in those times, only got 3 field goal attempts, and was 41.5%. But 2 of those 3 were 3-point field goals, and he shot 41% from 3, almost 42%. Now, obviously, that's a 2 attempt per game sample size. What does he look like if he's getting 4, 5, 6? But that's a good sign because it shows that he has the ability to be that guy that could be a valuable 3-and-D guy. And if he can just be consistent, he doesn't even have to be like elite, right? Obviously, the hope is that he gets there from the 3-point range, but if he can just be like 35, 36%, I mean, league average is 35%, can he get to like 35, 36% on like 4 or 5 attempts per game? If that's the case, now he has a real argument because he's already probably our best on-ball defender next to Jared Vanderbilt. Him and Jared Vanderbilt would be just good luck, right? I mean, you've seen all year what Jared Vanderbilt was able to do to guys. If we could have another one of those, but one that can actually shoot, I mean, then there's a real argument for Max Christie to even start at that point, right? Because Rui is great. I love Rui. He's going to get paid. I hope he retires a Laker. But He's not good at guarding small forwards, especially the quicker small forwards. That's the problem. Like, he's good at guarding the power forwards, the centers, right? We saw him and his ability to guard centers. He's able to guard the bigger, stockier guys because he's one of those, right? There's two types of forwards in this league. There are the Rui Hachimuras, the Aaron Gordon types, those guys that are just stocky, bully their way down, just tough, hard nose. And then you got like the Mikal Bridges type small forwards. That is what I think Max Christie will become. And if Max Christie can become a legit 3-and-D small forward, then watch out. The problem is for the Lakers is that if that happens this year, the Lakers are going to be in a really tough spot because they didn't sign this guy long term. They only signed him basically to the same type of contract that Austin Reaves signed, and so now they're in this like bind. They could end up, they need Austin Reaves and Max Christie to turn into stars at this point is what they're going to need to do. But again, like, so if Max Christie can become that guy that I'm talking about, like a Mikal Bridges level style type of player, then that is a real argument for him to start. Because you'd have Max Christie at the 3, LeBron at the 4, Anthony Davis at the 5. Now you got that Jared Vanderbilt level defense, but you got a guy that can actually shoot the ball. Then you'd have Austin Reaves at the 2 and maybe D'Lo at the point unless Lakers do otherwise. I wouldn't be shocked if by the time we get to like the midpoint, Max Christie is the starting small forward. I wouldn't be shocked about that at all, right? Unless Jared Vanderbilt develops a real legit shot, I think it'll come down to which one of those two is the better shooter. That's my concern. Or that's what I think will end up playing out, right? Because Rui is kind of the LeBron replacement, right? Lakers are keeping Rui long term because once LeBron retires in a year or two, he's very likely going to take over the mantle and be our starting 4. So you have Rui at the 4, Anthony Davis, whether he sticks around or not. If he does stick around, well, then there's your 5 for the next 4+ years. So you'd have Anthony Davis, you'd have Rui Hachimura, and then it's going to be that starting 3 guard now, or 3 position, right? So the Lakers could either A, go look for that and try to trade for that. Problem is, every team in the league is looking for stuff like that. A 3-and-D type guy. Can Max Christie become like an OG Anunoby, right? Like, that could be amazing. 6'7", 6'8", guard multiple positions, knock down the 3 ball. Like, those guys have huge value. And that's the problem. The Lakers need to find that badly. And Max Christie may end up being that guy because either A, you have to draft that, or B, you're hoping that Max Christie or Jared Vanderbilt become that. Jared Vanderbilt and Max Christie so far have shown the defensive side. They're both excellent defensively. Excellent. So you got half of the equation down. And to be fair, the defensive side is the easy part, right? Like the defensive side, because you can't teach size, height, length, determination. You can't teach that instinct. You can't teach a lot of the stuff that you see Max Christie and Jared Vanderbilt have. But you can teach a player to shoot better, right? You can teach a guy the mechanics to be a better knockdown shooter and develop them into a quality shooter. You can't, you see guys all the time, they come in the league and they're lazy. They never change. They're always lazy. Or if they don't have that instinct, they never end up having that instinct. Very rarely does a guy go from being a really bad, terrible defender to oh wow, he's a great elite defender, right? That's the difference. Usually you see these guys, they're really good defensively, and then they eventually work on their shot, and they eventually develop the shot. Think of Kawhi Leonard, for example, right? Kawhi Leonard came into the league and was clamps. From the jump, he was clamps. And then he developed that offensive game. He developed that offensive repertoire. That's what we need to see Max Christie and Jared Vanderbilt develop, because then you basically have your front court of the future for the next several years. because you'd have Max Christie and Jared Vanderbilt, you'd have Rui Hachimura, and you'd have Anthony Davis. Now you just need to find a backup four, and then a backup center, and you're good. So the Lakers, they might, if Max Christie is ready to take that jump, which he's confident in. Report recently came out where he was talking and he said, hey, I'm ready to go. I believe I'll be able to crack the rotation next year. Like, he's got the confidence. So if in the next year or two, if he can become that guy, become him, right, then the Lakers would really have a gem. But I'm curious to see if the Lakers kind of give him a chance, right? So they look elsewhere. You get what I'm saying? Instead of maybe drafting, because the Lakers have worked out a lot of combo guards, right? And it's why are they working out combo guards? But it's okay, well, I guess it makes sense that if they do trade D'Angelo Russell, but it's they could really use another perimeter defender. They could really use a 3-and-D style player on the perimeter. But it's Max Christie just turned 6'7", or grew to 6'7". Maybe the Lakers are looking at it as we already have that. We have our small forward of the future, right? He already grew to 6'7". He might end up growing to 6'8", 6'9". So we don't why do we need to draft another guy that's just gonna hinder his growth and his development, plus the guy you drafted's growth and development, as you're trying to find room for both of those guys when you already have Jared Vanderbilt and now you got Max Christie. I think that might be the approach. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, so I pass the question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? Do you think that, that's the guy, let's develop him? Do you think we need to find somebody veteran-led? Whatever your thoughts are, let me know.